What's going on, guys? It's Fantasy Stock Exchange here, bringing you another episode of our Drafters Best Ball series. Again, released every Tuesday. We hop on Drafters, build a best ball draft, and if you guys ever want to join in on these videos, make sure you join the Discord. I'll be dropping the Discord link in the Discord every week prior to recording this video. And if you haven't already, use code FSC for 50% match back on your first deposit. You deposit $10, you get $50 credit, so on and so forth. We've said it multiple times, but yeah, if you're watching right now, go like, comment, subscribe down below. Get going. But yeah, let's hit that intro.
Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother.
Show me the money.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I'll be drafting from the 9th spot in today's video, and yeah, it's definitely an interesting spot. One that I'll have to see where the top running backs go, because let's be honest here, you're gonna miss out on that first tier. It just depends. If I can get a guy like Derrick Henry maybe to fall there, I'll be extremely happy with that. But first 3 picks expected to be as goes. Christian McCaffrey goes 1, should be Saquon, and then Ezekiel Elliott going 3rd. So definitely interested in seeing who's going to be there at the 9th overall selection. If I have to, I'm expecting to be choosing from some of the top receivers, but hopefully a running back makes it to me, as we see Alvin Kamara actually come off the board before Ezekiel Elliott. So again, those guys battling for the 3rd overall spot. Ezekiel Elliott 4th, typical starting top 4. Should be able to see, Michael Thomas come next, and these next 3 picks should be some sort of Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams type combination. So planning for that 9th overall pick. Now, again, as I mentioned, hopefully Derrick Henry can fall to me. If not, I'll most likely be looking at receiver. Could be taking Austin Eckler. I mean, according to my board, he'd be my highest, but hopefully we don't have to worry about that. Get Derrick Henry, and maybe Eckler will fall to us at 16, but fingers crossed on Derrick Henry here. 48 seconds. Again, I'll most likely, after the first couple rounds, be editing out the little time in between, so you guys don't have to worry about, constantly waiting. Swifter video, more efficient, but yeah, definitely see. So Joe Mixon actually goes off the board before Derrick Henry. Makes my decision easier. We'll be taking Derrick Henry, running back from the Tennessee Titans. Again, we've mentioned him a lot on the channel. He's actually my RB5 right now, after the top 4 being Elliott, Kamara, Saquon, and Christian McCaffrey. And with Derrick Henry, I mean, you know what you're getting. You're getting a workload-dependent stud back. I mean, he's probably going to get 300, 310 plus carries. Shooing to be a top 3 in the league in rushing. Going to get a lot of rushing scores. The main detractor of a Derrick Henry is the pass catching element, which again, it's a concern, but when he's getting that type of workload that we saw from last season, I mean, we saw the upside, we saw the consistency with Derrick Henry, so I'm more than fine making him the 9th overall selection here, my first round pick. So yeah, we're locking up Derrick Henry, running back from the Tennessee Titans. So again, as I mentioned, after these first 2 picks, we'll kind of see this in between for 16. But after that, I'll be editing out the in between bits, just so it's more swift for you guys to watch. So yeah, we see Miles Sanders go off the board after Derrick Henry. I mean, 10th overall pick is interesting. He would be. Yeah, I think you can make the case for him at about like 12, 13, but 10 may be a little early, especially if Austin Eckler's on the board. I mean, he's my RB7 overall. In fact, again, I've mentioned it so many times, the fact that the fantasy community is disrespecting Austin Eckler the way that they are at this point is just ridiculous to me, because 204 vacated touches from the 12 games that Melvin Gordon played, 17 per game. They replaced Melvin Gordon with a 5th round rookie running back in Josh Kelly. So why do people just assume that Austin Eckler's workload is going to go down? Again, I've mentioned multiple times, he was the RB2 without Melvin Gordon, RB10 with Melvin Gordon, and he was the RB10 with Melvin Gordon on 6 carries per game. Now, people are going to say, oh, Tyrod Taylor got added, the receiving workload is not going to be there, yada, yada, yada. That's complete nonsense to me. I mean, the way I look at it, Tyrod Taylor was able to support a top 4 overall running back in 2016 in LaShawn McCoy. People are going to say, oh, he only caught 50 passes. Well, his career high, he had 1 year with 91 targets. Other than that, he didn't have a single season with 70 plus targets. Austin Eckler is a completely different back to what LaShawn McCoy is. Now, again, Austin Eckler is going to be flanked out wide. He's going to be catching passes from the slot. I mean, he's just such a versatile overall player that, like, just saying, oh, Tyrod's not going to dump it off is just false. It's a false narrative. Like I've said multiple times on this channel, it's just a false narrative that people play into. And yeah, hopefully he can make it there for me at 16. I'll be loving life if that happens. Now, see Travis Kelce go off the board. I'll get the table view for you guys in just a moment. So yeah, after I picked Derrick Henry, we saw Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, Tyreek Hill, good value there, especially best ball format. His teammate Travis Kelce go off the board, and then Nick Chubb following that up. So yeah, as I was mentioning earlier, this pick to me is really a no-brainer. Julio is a really tempting option, but I'm going to lock up Austin Eckler. Again, my RB7 overall, first round pick in my opinion, that's falling to the early to mid second round. Don't let this happen, guys. So I'll be selecting Austin Eckler, running back from the Los Angeles Chargers. So really like that pick there. So yeah, we're back. 3 picks away from our third round selection, 33rd overall. Again, after I selected Austin Eckler, running back from Los Angeles Chargers, we saw George Kittle go off the board, tight end. Joe Mixon, tight end. Joe Mixon and George Kittle stacked there, so running back, tight end, I don't mind that. Then we see Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, actually a really solid receiving tandem. I really like that. Again, my number 1 overall ranked receiver and my number 3. If you're going to go if you're going to start 2 wide receivers, that's definitely the way you do it. Really solid stack there. So after that, we saw Aaron Jones go off the board, followed by DeAndre Hopkins, another 2 wide receiver set there. Chris Godwin, Lamar Jackson, Kenny Galladay, Mike Evans to round out the second round. And then at the start of the third round, we saw Tyler's boy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back from the Chiefs, Le'Veon Bell, Juju Smith-Schuster, Patrick Mahomes, Todd Gurley, and Allen Robinson go off the board. And then right now, so he's definitely going RB0 with the Mark Andrews selection. So that's definitely interesting. So yeah, and then DJ Moore. So now we're back on the clock here. Now let me just take a quick peek at the running backs. Yeah, see, I'm not a Leonard Fournette guy. Maybe if he falls to the 4th, I consider him. But let me take the wide receivers, check the wide receivers available. This is definitely interesting. I don't mind Bobby Trees is a good selection, but third round's a little early. This kind of ugly right now. This is interesting. Just give me a second. Is Melvin Gordon available? I do have Melvin Gordon as my next rated back, but I'm most likely just going to take the receiving talent. Oh, Adam Thielen's here. I didn't even notice that. So I'm going to be going with Adam Thielen, wide receiver from the Minnesota Vikings, my next rated receiver. 9 overall, PPR formats. I mean, he's definitely a safe selection, especially at the end of the second round. So although I didn't get the pass catching upside from my running back in the first round and Derrick Henry, more than made up for it with Austin Eckler, and then Adam Thielen is probably going to catch about 100 balls if he stays healthy this year. So especially with losing Stephon Diggs. So I really like that value here at the end of the third round. Now, we'll definitely see, definitely interested in seeing who's going to be available. So we just saw Leonard Fournette. Mentioned if he was there at 40, I'd probably think that's a good enough value to take him. But hopefully Melvin Gordon can actually make it back to me now that I'm thinking about it. Again, after Melvin Gordon, running backs become a little more wishy-washy. I love JT and Swift, but we don't know how they're going to start the beginning of the season. So definitely interesting. I think Melvin Gordon's the safest running back left. People are going to argue David Johnson. Don't argue him. End of discussion here. We've said multiple times on the channel why we're all off of David Johnson. If you guys haven't already, go check that out. A lot of videos on that. But yeah, so we'll be back on the clock here in 3 picks. So after we took Adam Thielen, we saw Odell Beckham Jr., Lucas's boy, wide receiver from the Cleveland Browns, Leonard Fournette, Amari Cooper, and James Conner go off the board. So now NF Alex is making his 4th overall selection. So we'll see where he goes. But looking at the board here, I'm definitely interested in Robert Woods, Terry McLaurin, and Calvin Ridley would probably be my next 3. Hopefully I can just take one of those guys and maybe get a running back on the way back because, that would be pretty nice. So, We'll see what happens. So we saw Bobby Trees go off the board. Robbie Woods, Bobby Trees, you know how it is. And yeah, we're guaranteed one of Calvin Ridley or Terry McLaurin. So yeah, we'll be taking Calvin Ridley here, wide receiver from the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I love Terry McLaurin. Don't get me wrong. He is my wide receiver 16 or 17 overall in redraft. But when you're looking at just vacated production, 258 targets from the Atlanta Falcons. Calvin Ridley showed last season that when he is dependent upon to take the next step, he is capable of doing it. Now, you look at that offense. They're most likely going to be top 5 in overall passing attempts next year. 67% last year, pass to run split, led the NFL last year. You're looking at Calvin Ridley. I mean, this is the prime moment for him to take that step into the fringe top 10 range of receivers. And I think he's my wide receiver 13 or 14 overall right now. But taking that upside here at the beginning of the 4th round, especially when paired with such a safe option in Adam Thielen, ultimately is going to be a very nice pick. So Calvin Ridley, wide receiver from Atlanta Falcons, book it. So we're back. Pick away from being on the clock. I was hoping that Terry McLaurin would fall to me, but unfortunately he was sniped 2 picks before. So again, after we went with Calvin Ridley, we saw Cooper Kupp, Chris Carson, Keenan Allen, Melvin Gordon, Jonathan Taylor, David Johnson, DJ Chark, Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf, David Montgomery, Stephon Diggs, Zach Ertz, Tyler Lockett, Mark Ingram, Terry McLaurin, and Devontae Parker go off the board. So these 2 receivers were definitely my next 2 picks. Hoping one of them fell. Now, at the receiver position, I really like Gallup, Landry, Edelman. I'm recording this actually the day that Cam Newton signed, so that's definitely interesting to see the dynamic affecting him. But I like the value still of Julian Edelman. I still think he's going to be a good fantasy contributor, especially with an improved quarterback situation. But guy I'm going to continue harping on the channel, DeAndre Swift. Getting him here at the end of the 5th round is basically taking candy from a baby. I mean, he's a top 20 running back. That nobody's going to acknowledge that because they think Detroit's a wasteland for running back. So I'm more than fine taking the top 40 selection, my RB1 on the class, so or RB2. So I'm going to be taking DeAndre Swift. Yeah. Speaking of DeAndre Swift, he was my RB2 ranked in this draft class behind Jonathan Taylor. Top 40 player overall for me, and getting him here. Again, he lands in the Detroit Lions situation. People aren't taking into account the fact that A, he was a top 40 pick for a reason. He was the 35th pick overall, I believe. Actually, before Jonathan Taylor, oddly enough. And B, in general, I mean, we saw what Kerryon Johnson was able to do last year. Like, again, he was inefficient. He produced 3.5 yards per carry. Yards per touch was low as well. I don't have the exact efficiencies on me, but I know they were definitely off of what we're accustomed to seeing. And not to mention, I mean, the injury concerns. Yet he still received over 16 touches per game. So even if we're able to see DeAndre Swift get a 10 to 12 touch per game type role, like he's so efficient. I liken him to a guy like Alvin Kamara. Obviously not that efficient, but in terms of play style, in terms of elusiveness, vision, overall talent, as a prospect actually goes to Swift. So in general, when I'm watching DeAndre Swift play, I definitely think that he can realistically carve out a really good role on the Detroit Lions team. So getting him here again at the end of the 5th round after some of the guys that we saw go before him is definitely great. Great news in my opinion. Like Chris Carson going a full round before him is disgusting to me. So yeah, I'm going to be back on the clock here, and looking at the receiver position is most likely going to be the pick. Definitely interesting here. Some interesting names. I mean, Tyler Boyd's there, Michael Gallup, Julian Edelman, Jarvis Landry, and we're not going to be mentioning AJ Green's name. Do not take him in fantasy this year. Like, if you think, oh, he looked elite in 2016, he's so good. Like, no, don't do it. Please, just save yourself for the hassle. Don't do it. And then we're looking at quarterbacks. I mean, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Dak, Deshaun. I mean, there's still really good options. Hopefully one can maybe fall back to me at the 7th pick. I'll be more than happy with that, especially considering 2 of these guys already have quarterbacks locked up, so I'm more likely to be able to get one. So that's definitely interesting here. But yeah, the pick is looking like it's going to most likely be at the wide receiver position, especially in a start 3 wide receiver, full PPR league, as we saw Brandon Cooks go off the board. Really good pick there. To me, I honestly believe that the pick's going to be Michael Gallup. I mean, just looking at it, again, it's really close, really tough decision here. But when I'm looking at Michael Gallup, again, 1,100 yard receiver last year with Dallas. He people think, oh, CeeDee Lamb was out of there to take care of Michael Gallup's workload. And that is completely false because Randall Cobb himself vacates 83 targets. Jason Witten vacates another 83 targets. 166 between those two players, 190 total vacated targets for the team in general. Why would CeeDee Lamb's production come and take place from Michael Gallup? Again, I still think he's going to flirt with 130, 135 targets if he's able to play the full 16-game slate. And in general, he's a top 25 receiver in my opinion. I think I have my wide receiver 25 overall, and he has legitimate top 15 upside if he's able to hit. And as I have said multiple times, I think this offense is going to be fantastic. So I'll definitely swoop up that second-year breakout going into his third-year player in Michael Gallup. 3 seconds left. Scoop that up. More than happy. He is my wide receiver 3 on a team where I'm really balanced. Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Swift, and Michael Gallup rounding out the top 6 rounds. So I'll see you back when we're making our 7th round selection. But yeah, so we are a pick away from being back on the clock after our Michael Gallup selection. So to finish off the 6th round, we saw Kareem Hunt, Jarvis Landry, Ronald Jones, J.K. Dobbins, AJ Green, Julian Edelman, Darren Waller, Tyler Boyd, and then the 7th round had it Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, little quarterback run, Damian Williams, Deebo Samuel, Tyler Higbee, Will Fuller, and then Dak Prescott going off the board 2 picks before me, which is really interesting because he was actually going to be my selection. So that one hurts a little bit, but hopefully we can get Deshaun Watson, which we do. Perfect. Deshaun Watson, quarterback from the Houston Texans. Again, we've mentioned him multiple times on the channel. Bush is harping on him every time he gets the chance. He is going to most likely flirt with that 600 attempt range, especially with the a declining defense and in general. I mean, we've seen it multiple times. Like, Deshaun Watson is just the type of player where he can get out of the pocket, he can make plays. And what did they replace DeAndre Hopkins with? A speedster in Brandon Cooks. No, Brandon Cooks is not DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not saying that. But when fully healthy, we see that his receiving corps definitely suits his style of play. I mean, Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, Randall Cobb. He's definitely still got weapons to definitely make a good case for him still being that elite option. So wrapping him up here, best ball format in this late 7th round. He has the talent and the overall upside to be able to have that 40-point type week that we really covet in a best ball draft. So I definitely like that pick. Now going back on the turn here, just kind of going to prepare for who I want. So to me here, it's going to be Hayden Hurst. Oh my gosh, if Hayden Hurst falls to me in a best ball, especially in that offense, I'm going to be so happy. But talking about Hayden Hurst, we've said it multiple times. If he stays healthy, he's most likely going to receive about 100 targets. I mentioned it with Calvin Ridley. If I have Calvin Ridley and Hayden Hurst, I'm flirting with a top 5 overall finisher at their position weekly between those guys, simply because the targets are going to be spread out. They're going to be high volume, and they're going to, in general, the overall targets, if we're talking about Matt Ryan from a fantasy perspective, there's no way he doesn't finish as a top 10 quarterback with those amount of targets, with that amount of volume. Like, we've seen it multiple times. Dirk Cutter loves getting his tight ends the ball. Tight ends flourish under Dirk Cutter. Now, running backs definitely don't, as Bush will say, but we saw it. I've said it multiple times. Again, Hayden Hurst is a more talented, more athletic player than Austin Hooper was. And we saw what Austin Hooper was able to do last season. 18.5% target market share. Tight end 1 for the first 8 weeks of last season. To me, it's going to be a slam dunk. If Hayden Hurst is able to make it there, to me, at my 8th round selection, he is my current tight end 6 overall on my board. So I am going to be over the moon if he falls to me. We just have to fade Moss taking him, because I'm just going to assume that this guy doesn't double up at tight end with Kelsey and him, but hopefully not. Who's he take? Come on. Let's see that pick go. He goes Evan. Oof, wow. So he did go the double up, except he with the tight end right after Hurst in my ranking. So yeah, as I mentioned, Hayden Hurst, lock that up. No ifs, ands, or buts. Let's go. I'll see you in the 9th round selection. So we're actually about to be back on the clock for our 9th round selection. After I took Hayden Hurst, tight end from the Atlanta Falcons, we saw Kerryon Johnson, Tariq Cohen, Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy, Marlon Mack, Jordan Howard, Sterling Shepard, Tom Brady leave off the 8th round. And then at the start of the 9th round, we saw Alexander Mattison, Anthony Miller, Philip Lindsay, Rob Gronkowski, Matt Breida, CeeDee Lamb, and Tevin Coleman go off the board. So after Ebola, oh, sorry, I don't want to even pronounce that. Then, yeah. Cut that. He actually goes with Josh Allen, quarterback from the Buffalo Bills. So I'm back on the clock here, and just looking at the board. Let me take a quick gander to see who's available. It's kind of dry at the running back position, to be quite honest. I do like Sony, but I'm kind of nervous about that Cam Newton selection, especially in terms of Sony's overall goal line work. So if he's there in the 10th, I'll definitely consider it. I do like Zach Moss as well, but I think he could make it back to me. So I'm just going to check out the wide receiver position, see if a couple of my names are still here. Did Deontay Johnson go? Yes, he did. Okay. Give me a second. It's definitely interesting here. I do like Slayton as well. I'll most likely go Slayton. 10 seconds left. Yeah, give me Darius Slayton, wide receiver from the New York Giants. He's going to have his blow-up games, as we saw last year in a best ball format. It's very valuable having a guy like that. So give me that. We're going to be waiting 6 overall picks for my next overall selection. Hopefully, I'm able to get Zach Moss there. So we'll wait that out, see what happens. But yeah, just looking at the roster so far. Again, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Swift, Michael Gallup, Deshaun Watson, Hayden Hurst, and Darius Slayton all go off the board as we see Sony Michel get taken by Moss Def. I really like how this team's turning out. I mean, overall, we got three really good running backs that I like. Hopefully, we can get 4 if Zach Moss falls. And that receiving talent that we have, I really trust all 4 of those guys to make an impact on certain weeks. Really good upside there. Deshaun Watson, Hayden Hurst, mentioned them at those 1Z positions at quarterback and tight end in a best ball format, locking down guys with the ceiling of those two. Will win me some weeks, so I'm definitely happy with that. So, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, this guy can make a pick because this is taking forever. But yeah, come on, man. What are you doing? I believe he timed out on his last 2 selections as well. Like, you're in a best ball draft. We all have things to do. Let's get it going. I mean, as I say that, I'm literally recording and taking the whole clock as well. So kudos. But yeah, we'll see who's taking at 107 if it actually loads. And he goes Jared Cook, so he has 3 tight ends. Well, okay, that's what you get from auto picking, I guess, right? Especially Jared Cook. Jared Cook over some of the tight ends that like Jonnu, Gesicki, Henry Hooper, like Doyle, like what the heck? Like, I don't mind Cook maybe as like a mid-tier tight end 2 type. Like, you have him ranked as like tight end 13 to 15. Okay, I understand that, but man, taking him over some of those upside options just boggles my mind, especially in a best ball format. Yeah, that's definitely a weird pick, but Latavius Murray actually goes off the board next to Case Smithers. So 3 picks away again. Hopefully this turn can really come around just so we can make it more swift and easy for you guys to watch. But yeah, Henry Ruggs, Bush's boy, definitely a really good pick, especially in a best ball format. Great week 1 matchup in the 10th round. So I really like that return right there. So we're just hoping that Zach Moss can fall to me. As we mentioned, Matt Ryan, really good pick in the 10th round of a best ball. We've mentioned how high octane that Atlanta Falcons offense is going to be as we see Carson Wentz go off the board. So really good value for both those teams. I'm going to be taking Zach Moss, running back from the Buffalo Bills. Mentioned it. He has an 11 touch per game type workload available to him from the departure of Frank Gore. 179 vacated touches, 26 red zone opportunities. So even if he's able to fill 90% of that work, that's still 10 touches per game available to him. And getting a guy like that in the 10th round with both standalone value and potential upside if anything were to happen to Devin Singletary to be a 3-down back, I really like that. Really like that pick. So locking up Zach Moss. We'll see you back on the 11th round selection and who will be able to get over there. So we're about to be back on the clock here. Again, after we selected Zach Moss, running back from the Buffalo Bills, we saw Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Williams, Aaron Rodgers, Preston Williams, Deshaun Jackson, Antonio Gibson, Boston Scott, Tony Pollard. Boston Scott over Pollard is very, very interesting there. Justin Jefferson, Jonnu Smith, great pick. I wanted him. Jameson Crowder, Duke Johnson, Drew Brees, Austin Hooper, and Chase Edmonds go off the board. Now we see Hunter Henry off the board. So we are back on the clock here. Again, as I mentioned, I really wanted Jonnu to fall to me. After that, I mean, I do like Jasicki Jarwin, but I think I could be able to get them at the next round, especially with Hayden Hurst. I'm very confident in him. Looking at the receivers, is there any value? Maybe like Brashad Perriman I like. Is there Pittman? Is Pittman here? Okay, so I really like Pittman and Perriman, so I'll keep that in mind. And is there any quarterback worth it here? Cam Newton's definitely interesting now, especially at this point. He would probably Stafford. Stafford's definitely the best. I do like Cam Newton, especially at the value he's currently going. So I'm going to actually go with here. Who did I mention? I'm going to go with Pittman. Where's Pittman? Pittman. Stafford. No. Fuck. Okay, John Brown's not bad. Sorry for my language, but yeah, John Brown's definitely not bad at the 11th round. That's unfortunate. Damn. Yeah, so we see Stafford go off, of course. Of course we see Stafford go off. And Daniel Jones, so definitely interesting there. That's unfortunate. I really wanted Stafford there, but you know, whatever. That's what happens when you're too busy taking your time, right? But yeah, looking here, I'm thinking Blake Jarwin would be a solid pick here, but I don't mind going back to the quarterback well. And looking at the guys here, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is a really good shout. Cam Newton, again, the injuries concern me enough to wait on either of those guys. So let me just check the receivers. I'm going to go with Pittman because that's who I wanted before. He ended up getting, fortunately, skipped over there. But yeah, I'm happy now. But I'll see you guys at the 13th round selection. So we're about to be back on the clock here again. As I mentioned, I went with Michael Pittman Jr. as my last pick. We got Joe Burrow, Jack Doyle, Noah Fant, N'Keal Harry, Sammy Watkins, Cam Newton, Tyrell Williams, Dallas Goedert to finish off the 12th, and then Alan Lazard, Blake Jarwin, Jalen Reagor, Alshon Jeffrey, Darrell Henderson, Darrington Evans, Devontae Freeman, and A.J. Dillon, going off in the 13th. Now, when I'm looking at the board here, just looking at it, the tight end position kind of got decimated. I really wanted Jarwin or one of those guys to fall to me. I'm most likely going to be looking at the quarterback position, and looking at that, I really do like the value that Big Ben provides, especially the upside. Mentioned him a ton on this channel, but getting him here in a best ball format at the round 13 area is really good value for me. So I'm going to lock up Ben Roethlisberger, and I'm really hoping that what's his name, Anthony McFarland Jr. ends up falling back to me. Can we mention the inconsistencies in terms of James Conner was saying on? Oh, damn. Okay, well, speaking of that, really good value. Was hoping he made it back to me, but we move on. Live and forget. You know, holding in my tears right now. Maybe Carlos Hyde can make it back to me. That wouldn't be too bad either. As Corey has mentioned multiple times, we don't know about the health of Chris Carson. So taking a cheap guy as an insurance policy to Carson in the 14th round in Carlos Hyde. Again, mentioned before, he has shown 1,000-yard type capability when thrust into the spotlight. Brandon Ayuk was a great pick, by the way. So, yeah, if I can get Hyde there, that's something that could be a good value. So, yeah, I'm going to be going with Carlos Hyde, running back from the Seattle Seahawks. 14th round selection, I really like the value on him, and I will see you back in the 15th round. So we are about to be back on the clock here, as we are. We saw a little quarterback run happen in this 15th round area. Unfortunate about that tight end. I really wanted one to fall, but looking at it now, I mean, it's kind of a wish-wash. Maybe a guy like David Njoku, Dawson Knox, OJ wouldn't be the worst, but I'm going to be looking at some of the other positions. So let's take a look at the running backs. Not too much value here. Maybe a Josh Kelly just to shore up our investment on Austin Eckler. That could be a very good case, but I'm actually going to be going. Brashad Perriman's still available right now. Easy snap. no brainer. Rashad Perriman, round 15, insanity. We mentioned multiple times, you guys will be seeing this before our hot commodities on Thursday episode, our values between rounds 11 and 15. But talking about Rashad Perriman, I mean, the fact that he is going so late right now, he has the potential to solidify himself as the wide receiver one on the Jets. Now, I know wide receiver one on the Jets doesn't sound too sexy, but that position is going to yield 100 plus targets. I mean, we saw it with Robbie Anderson over the years. He had round 7, round 6, round 8 type ADP when he was occupying that role. And to me, like, Rashad Perriman is a more complete overall receiver than Robbie Anderson's ever been. So being able to get him here in the freaking 15th round is insanity. So I really like that value. Now going back on the clock here, we're looking at a couple decent picks. Quarterbacks kind of brim, but I'll actually just any running backs real quick before I make a tight end pick. That's kind of dim. We'll be probably selecting a tight end here. Now looking at the board, I don't mind Dawson Knox. I mean, he's got potential from an athletic standpoint to really develop a rapport with Josh Allen. I think he's very talented, very athletic tight end option, and take him here in the 16th round, to me, is a really good value. So snag him up here. Tight end 2 is a little concerning, but again, good value on him. So we are about to be back on the clock here. Again, 17th round. After I went with the selection of Dawson Knox, tight end from Buffalo, we saw Josh Kelly, Kenny Stills, Denzel Mims, Raekwon Armstead, Jamal Williams, David Njoku, Kendrick Bourne, Traquan Smith go off the board to end the 16th round. And in the start of the 17th, we saw Jay Sternberger, D.D. Westbrook, Tua Tagovailoa, T. Higgins, Laviska Shenault, Gerald Everett, Cole Beasley, and Kyle Rudolph go off the board. So looking back on these picks now, just trying to find some values, and it's kind of brim, to be quite honest. I mean, looking at the quarterback position, maybe Tyrod Taylor, Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins would probably be the number one there. Looking at the running back position, it's kind of brim as well. Maybe Chris Thompson, a little pass catching upside, but again, this is best ball. Don't take those type of players as your bench spot. So I feel like the value is going to honestly be here at receiver. I don't have too many picks. I'm just going to go, I'll take Randall Cobb. You know what? Maybe he has a little rapport with Deshaun Watson, develops a nice little connection. Don't mind that value, especially round 17. So yeah, hopefully maybe I can get a Dwayne Haskins maybe next round. Wouldn't be too bad. We've hyped up how good we believe Terry McLaurin can be. And I mentioned, like, Dwayne Haskins, as bad of a rookie season as he honestly had last year, he really improved down the stretch. Those last 5 games were so much better than the first 4. I mean, I mentioned the overall statistics of it in a recent ADP battles with Justin from Father Son Fantasy Football, and we're talking about Terry McLaurin, but yeah, the real step up with Dwayne Haskins' play down the stretch was very evident. So, anyways, hopefully we can get him. But touching upon again Randall Cobb, the little connection we have on this stack in best ball with him and Deshaun Watson could end up proving to be a really good value. So definitely like that pick. Now, yeah, other than Dwayne Haskins, let's kind of map out who we hope to fall. So the tight end position, I'm not going to be touching anybody. I mean, don't draft these type of guys like Nick Boyle, Jesse James, Yuck, Vance. Like, no thanks. So one of these 3 positions is definitely going to be the pick. Talking about the receivers, just to get a quick glimpse, I wouldn't mind Steven Sims Jr. I do think he has a potential appeal in late rounds of drafts, especially in a best ball format, as a wide receiver 2 on that offense behind Terry McLaurin. I believe that is his role. He really broke out down the stretch last year, so definitely like him. A little rapport there with Dwayne Haskins, but I'm going to go with Dwayne Haskins. I mean, he's still a talented player. Getting him here in the 18th round, you're taking an upside on a second-year player, ending up really taking that next step, especially in how bad the situation was for him last year. So I definitely think he does have some type of potential to really outplay this ADP, especially going off the board in round 18 is a good value on him. So I'll see you back on my 19th round selection, but we're really wrapping up this draft. Hope you guys have enjoyed so far. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe down below. Tell me what you think about this draft. We'll go over the little roster overview once we're done. But yeah, see you in the 19th round, y'all. So we are back on the clock here. Last 2 picks of the draft, wrapping off the yeah, the draft. So this is bleak, to be quite honest. Like there is like nothing I'm really interested in here. Can I search by rookies maybe? Is that a thing? No? Okay. Well, yeah, this is definitely a tough spot. Maybe there's some rookies. Wow. Okay. Um, Looking right off the board right now. Yuck. Maybe we just get a handcuff. Maybe Gio Bernard, a little pass catching, role there. Yeah, whatever. We'll go Gio Bernard here. Really nothing else there. That's unfortunate. I wish you could sort by rookies here because it's really tough to find some of these guys. Lim Bowden would have been perfect if I knew he was there. That's rough. Malcolm Brown or whatever. I don't care. Touching upon some of these guys. Let me just take a quick run through just to kind of see if there is anybody that really intrigues me at this point, but I doubt it, to be quite honest. Yeah, there's nothing too nice around here. Maybe Foles, whatever. Trubisky, I don't care. This is really rough. Like there's like nobody at tight end. What the heck? Yeah, we'll probably go with like Miles Boykin maybe. I don't even know. Maybe a running back. Is there any running backs like with any value still available? There doesn't look like it. Yeah, I think Penny's going to be hurt, but I could take Penny and maybe see if he ends up developing into a role. I have Hyde. I'll have Penny. Maybe if once Penny comes back, that's probably going to be a timeshare regardless. So I could go Penny, or I could just take an upside shot at receiver. Yeah, Miles Boykin's probably the best name there. Maybe an Andy Isabella, but too many mouths to feed on the Arizona offense. So I'll take Miles Boykin. I think he could develop into a nice little role. Actually, you know what? Let me just take Rashad Penny. Whatever. A little 180 right there, but we're rolling. Rashad Penny. But yeah, glad you guys stuck around for this draft. I know we went a little deep. 20 rounds of this best ball draft, picking from the 9th selection. This team so far, we'll do a little wrap up. I'll show a graphic on the screen while I'm talking right now. But Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Swift, Michael Gallup, Deshaun Watson, Hayden Hurst, Darius Slayton, Zach Moss, John Brown, Michael Pittman, Ben Roethlisberger, Carlos Hyde, Brashad Perriman, Dawson Knox, Randall Cobb, Dwayne Haskins, Gio Bernard, and to wrap it up, Rashad Penny. Again, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, every Tuesday, these best ball drafts will be released, and I'll mention it one more time while you're ending this video. If you haven't already, make sure use our promo code FSC, 50% match back on your first deposit. So definitely free money. Why not use it? Especially getting these drafts every Tuesday with us. These will be coming out, pumping out every week. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe down below. And until next time, peace out, y'all.